Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Spencer, this is Kenny Hotz, and I would like to welcome you to a new episode of Bothering the Band.
Hey, how's it going?
Mr. Hotz,
Well, okay,
Mr.
Mr.
Hotz,
Hot,
sir,
Mr.
why is
Hotz.
your daughter here?
Oh, that's nice.
Aw.
Where are you guys?
We're actually both in Florida, but different parts of Florida.
Jealous. Where in Florida?
I am Central Florida on the beach.
Very nice. East or
Mhm.
west?
East. Mhm.
Hmm.
And I am South Florida in the suburbs.
Oh, wow, crazy. I like Florida. I want to move to Florida. My wife is not convinced, but I just want to live there.
Any particular place?
Well, I've got three little kids, three little girls, so Coconut Grove, maybe. I don't know. I don't know where. I don't want to be too close to Miami or Fort Lauderdale. I don't think. Maybe Orlando. I don't know. Everyone says different things. I don't really know enough about Florida to know where to live. But
Yeah.
well, I guess I'm a Jew. I'd probably want to be close to Miami.
You'd fit in nice in the suburb. I'm about an hour north of Miami and
Yeah,
about half hour west of Fort Lauderdale in I'm sure you've heard of Boca. That's
yeah.
like
My
the
entire family's in Boca,
of course. I wasn't
which is
gonna
why I don't want to be
assume.
there.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna assume, but
Yeah.
Jews. Well, man, we talk about Florida a lot. We always try to get a different opinion because it does have a reputation. So I'm happy you brought it up in the light of, oh, I want to move
No, no,
there.
I love it. I hung out there as a kid. Um, I lived in America for about 11 years. I was in LA from about 98 to 2002 around, maybe even longer. And I love America. I love the food. I love the weather. Um, Not that I don't really want to be in Florida in the summer,
Yeah,
but
it's
I
pretty
definitely
brutal.
miss America so much. And I'm in Toronto and it's fucking, actually it, today is, it's a summer's day. It's and say we're all gonna die. Like there's no way in the end of January can I go out in a t-shirt and I could today. We're done. Sorry, sorry, kids. We are so
That's
finished.
wild. So it's Florida cold today. It was like 55 when I woke up this
Yeah,
morning. And so improv dumb question here is if you lived in Florida and it was like 50 coming from Toronto, and if it
yeah,
was like 50, a lot of people are bitching about it.
yeah. I'd be running around in a Dalmatian Speedo
I love it.
with my nippleless bra, like the rest of you people in
You got to
Miami.
take some bath salts too.
Yeah, you gotta do
Yeah,
drugs.
for sure.
We're really cooking already. I love
Yeah,
it.
I'll use bath salts on my
Very classy. Mr. Hot Sir, we're really
Kenny,
stoked.
please.
We're
Kenny.
super
I'm not
stoked
even a
to have
band.
you.
This makes no sense. Though look at this. Here's some of my records. I've got lots of records.
Love it. Which one's your favorite?
Oh, I have tons. Most of my records are kind of ethnic folkways, international, old weird, tribal and international music, and then I have got a ton of classical and electronic, and then music of kind of like the 60s and 70s mostly. And then, there's like, you know, I've got a lot of craft work and Zeppelin, Beatles, but some contemporary stuff as well. I've got like maybe 100, 200 original Sugar Hill records. I was into rap in the late 70s and early 80s as a kid. So when I used to go to New York and just buy like just boxes of Grandmaster Flash and Boogie Boys, all that stuff.
We actually have questions pertaining to that, but I want to you said you're not in a band. I want to tell the listeners how this came about. And um we just had a band on end of last year called Fast Romantics. Matt and Curdy, we asked them a question. Abby, correct me. It was the last time you gave someone the finger, and they said it was our friend. This is how they put it too. I'm paraphrasing, but it's pretty spot on, and it's weird enough to just here we go. Curdy said you were handing her a lake quiche.
Yes, well, there are neighbors at the cottage, and Purdy is my wife's childhood best friend. So, I said, "Hey, do you want?" They're in the cottage next to us, and I said, "Hey, do you want quiche?" And she said yes, and then I gave her the quiche, and I always give her the finger, even though if she's like comes over to see the kid, she's like our permanent nanny, even though we don't pay her. Like she's just a great um person with kids. So when she comes over, I just give her the finger. She loves it.
It's affection. I get
She
it.
just yeah,
I get it.
yeah.
So after that, I mean, of course, when we put it together, we freaked out.
Which is amazing to me because I'm Canadian and I have been in the States, and we did have some success in the States, but minimal and very quickly. I don't even know who knows me.
Well, you're talking to two people of the demographic who know you, very
Yeah,
tapped into pop culture and of the generation where we were raised on TV, and it comes up
yeah,
a lot. Um, where we were only given what was on the TV. We didn't have a million choices like today, where
sure,
it's almost overwhelming. I think it served us a good thing because we could watch new innovative stuff like Kenny versus Spenny, but then also we loved like fucking Andy Griffith's show and stuff like that.
sure.
So yeah, we were. I mean, this is how this podcast goes. It's very organic, and we were like, "Fuck, let's get Kenny Hotz
Yeah,
on."
look at why we listen. We did a lot of a large part of Kenny versus Spenny was music. I did tons of music in the show, even though I've
Yeah,
never ever been trained musically or anything. It's just because I have such a appreciation of music that I was able to, emulate and pay homage to certain songs. Like even the music that I put in the show that I scored the show with were all based on, Kubrickian soundtracks and Prokofiev and Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, and I used a lot of um, King Crimson or Kraftwerk or just weird, obscure albums that I had as a kid. I would just kind of poach them, kind of rewrite them, pay homage to them, and then use them in the actual show. I wanted the music to be very epic. I thought because it was so stupid what we were doing, it was so ridiculous. The more epic the music, Walter Carlos, Ennio Morricone, like that type of crazy stuff would just make this show actually funnier, which it did.
absolutely.
And I think it adds so much. Like music is such a large part of the show. It's kind of ignored sometimes.
I mean, it definitely stood out upon like building up to this episode. We rewatched some episodes. I shared the sleep episode with a few friends because I was like, "Have you heard of this? Do you remember this from high school, college?" And I was like, "Here, watch this crazy shit." Because that episode to me is like that. It's like number two, and it sets a precedent. It's like, oh no, this is real fun, real
It
weird.
was a lot. It was a lot. The audience, we felt enjoyed seeing us suffer.
Yeah.
So the more we suffered, the more joy you kids had.
Yeah, just a couple kids from Florida being like, "What is this weird shit? My parents won't be home forever."
It was pretty early on in the competitive genre of television and the internet. People weren't really doing that. There was Tom Green, and that was basically about it. Then Jackass, but those guys were just doing vignettes. They weren't really competing. I guess they kind of had some competitive aspects, but there's no narrative.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's all stand in front of this grenade or something like that. It was more self-deprecating, but no story.
I think that's what makes Kenny versus Spenny stand out.
Yeah, it was definitely a deconstruction of the male ego. We both, Spenny and I both represent the two guys you do not want your daughter to date.
I hope she dates a nice Jewish boy. Okay. So you mentioned hip hop. I noticed on your Instagram you have a lot of hip hop. A lot of you said it, and I was getting there, which is 90s New York East Coast hip hop. Do you have any faves?
Well, Grandmaster Flash, I think, is my favorite. Flash the Beat. I saw Grandmaster Flash in, I think it was 1980 at the Masonic Temple in Toronto. They played for like 20 minutes and then took off. And my friend and I were like the only two people giving them a standing ovation after it. Um, but I'm trying to think who else. My brain is so melted from having kids. I loved um, like early on. I would say it kind of got into Africa Bambaataa. When I was a really little kid in Toronto, we would go into these like really shitty art house movie theaters, and there'd just be these black dudes with ghetto blasters blaring Kraftwerk. And to me, Kraftwerk is kind of started electronic music and rap and all of
Mhm.
that stuff. So when you're listening to like Renegades of the Atomic Age or Grandmaster Flash, it's to me it's everyone rapping over Kraftwerk. So it's so that type of primitive German antiquated kind of music is the kind of rap that I grew up on. But I ended up loving like UTFO and Public Enemy, and I love Jay-Z, and basically if you're amazing, I love it. And then all the stuff I have, like the albums I have, kind of don't hold up. You know, they're Curtis Blow. Like when you listen to them now, it's like oof.
Yeah.
But Run DMC, all that stuff. It was a very, very long time ago.
So I look for any excuse to bring up Big L on the podcast because he's my favorite. Are you a fan of Big L? Do you know Big L?
Who's Big L?
Big L, you probably know his song. Put It On was a big one. MVP was another one. He had a song called Ebonics, and it was right before Jay-Z, New York, um, mixtape culture. He was with Mace and Cameron and all these
Yeah, I like
guys.
Mace. I never liked um what are they called? Fuck the police. NWA.
NWA, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So, some of the rap styles were just too kind of
Now this guy's more East Coast lyricist, MC type of,
yeah.
So rap fan, check out Big L. Again, just an excuse to talk about it. Underrated, supremely underrated. Okay, back to the quiche.
That's why nobody knows them.
Exactly. Back to the quiche. Let's say Curdy was handing you that quiche and you dropped it.
I gave Curdy the quiche. I gave him our leftover food. Oh yeah, she was handing me the quiche. Yeah,
Let's reverse it. She's handing you the quiche. You drop the quiche. Are you going to eat it? 5-second rule. Do you play by that?
at the cottage. Yeah, you'll basically flick a roach off of anything. Like you're in the forest. So yeah, no problem.
What if you dropped it in the lake? Would you scoop it up real quick? Lake
I think
quiche.
quiches are surprisingly waterproof. The crust, I think the crust would pop off, but then you're just dealing with an omelet, so why not?
Lake eggs.
And then you're trying to do as little work for the kids. So it's like, oh shit, will the kids eat this? Like if it's too gross for me to eat, maybe the kids will not notice it. Throw some ketchup on there.
Yeah. I mean, if you move to America, you got to put ranch on there. But
I know. And sausage gravy. A lot of weird things you guys do down there, which I love so much.
have you
I'm
just had
Mexican.
sausage gravy?
Oh, I love Mexican so much. Finally in Toronto, we finally getting some good Mexican.
Oh,
But
yeah.
just decades of Taco Bell. That's all we had. There's nothing. No carnitas, nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we love Taco Bell, but admittedly, it's not Mexican.
Yeah.
Hot Pockets or Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Are those bands or
One is and
snacks?
what is it?
I the very first time Red Hot Chili Peppers came to Toronto, Freaky Friday album. I had two backstage passes. I won them on the radio because I was so good. I could just boom boom anytime there was a radio thing. And we had an alternative radio station here, CKLN, and I won them. And I didn't even go. I didn't even know who they were. And I didn't go. I like a couple of their songs, but it just too naked and aggressive for me. But I do like them. I totally respect them as musicians.
Yeah, they're fun.
So hot pockets, yeah, sure, pizza. Why not? I like panzeratos. When panzeratos came to, do you know what a panzerato is?
I don't.
A panzerato is a calzone. It's a calzone. It's a pizza in a like it's a pizza dough sealed and baked. Here they deep fried it and they called them panzeratos. And when they came to Toronto, my brother took me by the hand. I must have been 8 years old. And we went downtown on the bus to have a panzerato. And it was probably one of the greatest things I ever ate in my life. I love food.
We love food. This podcast always devolves into food. Always.
Yeah. Do you guys go to Versailles at all?
I've been. I just told her about this.
Yeah, I like Versailles.
Yeah, get a Cuban
Yeah.
coffee and a sandwich and
They had one in
the
LA.
guava cakes.
Yeah, they had one in LA. I used to go all the time. Roast pork, chicken, extra garlic sauce. It's just amazing. Moro.
I'm making pork tonight, right after this. Pork and basketball.
I
It's a
feel
pork
sorry
and
for-
basketball tonight.
I feel sorry for your wife.
Oh, okay. Kenny Loggins or Kenny Rogers?
Probably Kenny Rogers.
Okay. All right.
But this is just who I would prefer having sex with.
Yes, of course.
Nothing to do with the music.
Consensual sex.
I'd have my login Kenny Rogers.
We did a pre-taping before this, and I'm just setting up the jokes for him. Simpsons or Family Guy?
Years ago it would have been Simpsons, just because some of the greatest Simpsons episodes are just masterpieces. But I love Family Guy. When I actually worked on South Park, and I told them once that I liked Family Guy, and they were so offended that I liked it. I held firm, but I was like, fuck, sorry, I like Family Guy.
I'm happy you brought that up.
I actually love Family Guy. I don't watch it much anymore, but I do love it.
Yeah, same here. I don't seek it out, but if I find it, it's always a fun. Yeah. I'm happy you mentioned South Park because that's exactly what I was dancing around, and which is what we try to do in the podcast. We're not going to ask you the thing that everyone asks you. We're going to dance around it, and hopefully it comes up organically.
I was actually going to tell you, please don't ask me the same questions everyone's been asking me.
Well, here's one I don't think any interview has ever asked you. Have you ever had anything lanced on your body?
Yes, actually,
Yeah?
my brother in the show, oh no, it wasn't in the show. I had these like oil pockets in my eyes. I forget what they're called, but they're just, you get old and you get these like little oily pockets, and he sliced it open and scooped it out. It was one of the most painful things in my life.
It was bottom.
No, you can kind of see, I have one there. I had it cut out. See that little white thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little oil deposit. It's a sign of high cholesterol, but I actually do not have high cholesterol from it, thank God. Though I might, but I've been tested, everything's peachy keen.
I actually do have high cholesterol, just a little bit, and I'm 41, so gotta figure it out.
Yeah. It's all that pork. Yeah, you should eat some more pork, maybe.
I'm gonna
That'll
eat
do it.
pork and eggs and butter. Yeah.
That's
Whatever.
good.
Okay.
Don't tell your rabbi.
Don't tell anyone in the community. What do you go to bed at the same time every night?
I do. I fall asleep extremely early. I usually fall asleep at about 9:30 on the couch watching TV, or 10 o'clock, and then I just wake up insanely early. Today I woke up at 3:30 in the morning, after falling asleep at 10 and snuck downstairs. And that's when I just sit on, Reddit and read the news and just go through endless, just a barrage. I'm like Data from fucking Star Trek, just sitting there going through like, memes and mini just content. It's just fucking crazy the amount. My brain is so oversaturated in fucking content. And now with the war and I'm a Jew um and I'm trying to do some work for my Patreon channel and some and YouTube stuff. So I'm trying to just build content and yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's just I'm not on TikTok, but between X and Instagram and YouTube Shorts and Reddit, it's just insane. And I love it so much. I just love the information. I love seeing random content that nobody would ever see in a million fucking years, but because there's cameras everywhere, you're seeing like the most insane shit that it's just crazy.
It's a full-time job and it's definitely overwhelming. And I tend to stick to just people falling down. Anytime you want to send me some videos of people falling, kids falling off a swing, that's my jam.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of old people there. Just
Yeah.
get a unicycle and ride down the street. You'll probably see lots of it. Did you see it? I made this thing in Florida for Vice. I did this show called Getting an Election. It was the last time I was there. I thought well, actually it's funny. They made Spike Jones the head of content at Vice, and I made this little kind of avant-garde experimental thing for Vice because my friends were running it in Canada. And it was called Me on You. It was just me on the street, and it was really fucking insane. I just went out for a day with a microphone, and I got the craziest fucking people, and we just cut together this amazing little sizzle. And then Spike Jones came to Canada, and supposedly my friend called me, and he was running Vice Canada. He goes, Spike Jones is here, and the only thing he liked was your Me on You thing. And then um, Trump was Trump went to Florida um, for fuck, what was it called? Oh my God, my brain. Anyways, whatever. It's called Getting an Election, and it's like me following around Trump and Hillary and all the candidates in Florida. And it was so much fun. That's why I love it. I just love the people there. Here in Canada, if you're on the subway and you talk, you're a fucking serial killer. In the States, if you're on the subway and you don't talk, you're a serial killer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm I'm an extrovert and I love talking to people and there's so much great culture down there. You have black culture. I don't really have a black culture here. And you go down there and you're like everyone's so fucking cool and so much fun. There's Mexicans, blacks, and it's so much bigger and faster and crazier. And I love that adrenaline. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna send you real estate listings.
I don't know the place well enough, but if you have a real estate bud,
I do.
send me okay, good. Yeah, send me his or her phone number.
Okay. Next dumb question. Last thing you stole.
A baby from the supermarket.
Oh, okay.
Shut up!
Just gonna leave that there.
Still here. Let me check the Amber Alert and see if it's still alive. Still alive. I've stole a lot. I was a vandal as a kid. I was a shitty kid. I was a drug dealer and just weed,
Okay.
Like I never sold coke or anything, shrooms sometimes. But I like even now when I go to Walmart and I'm at the self checkouts, it's very difficult for me not to steal something. I really don't. But it's hard for me not to. Like that's just like I'm kind of like anti-establishment. Like I hate
Yeah.
corporations, even though I love corporations. You know what I mean? Um, like I don't mind. Like I'll never fuck anybody personally, but I would love to fucking get some free fucking Mach 3 razor blades out of Costco. Like that to me is like, oh yeah, like oh I love that. Fuck those guys. And I have. And I'm very good at it too.
You got to do one for you and one for them. One for you. You got 5 things. 3 are yours.
Yeah.
2 you get paid for. Also, you know what's a fun place to steal from? The airport. I love stealing from the airport because water you buy like a big smart water is like $11. You're like, that's mine. I'm taking this shit.
Yeah, I took my kids for pancakes today down the street. Pancakes were $20, which is probably about $17 US. Anyway, so there's these three shitty. First of all, I got 3 kids. I go, how many pancakes are there? And they say, oh, there's 3 pancakes. So they bring me the pancakes. There's only 2 pancakes. And I get up and I go to the lady. I said, look, I got 3 kids. I ordered 3 pancakes. They're like, oh yeah, no problem. I'll bring you a pancake. And I was like, it's basically flour and water, and they're $20. $20.
Does it come with like bacon,
Nothing.
eggs?
Nothing,
What?
nothing, zero. It was just 3 pancakes on a plate with some butter and maple syrup. And so just as a larf, I Google Ritz-Carlton Dubai breakfast menu, and I see that I did this today, this morning. I see that pancakes at the Ritz-Carlton in Dubai are 50 dirham, and I do the calculation into Canadian cash. They were $18.36. So then when I pay my bill, I go, hey, I just want you to know that your pancakes are more expensive than the Ritz-Carlton in fucking Dubai.
I'm sure they love that, but that is diabolical.
They are
That
here.
is-
They're so entitled. So we have we don't have the best hospitality. Our wait staff here is everyone here is very overeducated and entitled.
Well,
And the States are so nice. Oh my God. You want a table and how you doing, darling? And sit down and what can I get you? Like one of the best hospitality countries in the world.
Okay.
I miss it.
I'm gonna poll you after you spend some time in South Florida and see if you think the
I
same
can't. I'm
thing.
married. I'm married. You can pull Spenny anytime.
Okay. I'm just gonna ask you about your dining experience because I think in South Florida, I think the service is the worst.
Yeah.
It's
Is that
not
because
even
the
nice.
are the Cubans aren't the
No, it's
nicest?
nothing to do with that. It's just there's no sense of what's the word I'm looking for? Like competition.
And when I say Cubans are the worst, I'm talking about those old the waiters at Versailles. That's the only time there's a shitty Cuban. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's fucked. It's funny. Someone said to me once, everyone's doing the best they can, which I try to think about, and it kind of puts things in perspective.
It's their definition of the best they can, though. So
Yeah.
someone's best is different than your best, my best. Speaking of best, we looked up something and we're blown away by it. You got your start in photography, like photojournalist.
I was 13 years old. I bought a camera with my bar mitzvah cash. My brother is an incredible artist, like fucking Da Vinci. He was a shitty student, but his life drawings, he drew like hands, and his hands that he drew were so fucking, it looked like Michelangelo's. He's amazing. Got him into med school. He became a doctor with shitty grades. So, and I chopped off my finger when I was 4 years old in an exercise bike. And so I didn't really use my hands. And so I never really drew. And I was always so jealous that I couldn't draw. So I kind of turned to photography as a kid, as a really little kid, and kind of started taking pictures. I was shitty technically just because I'm ADD. But look, even there, that's a picture. Oh, and this is my podcast wall, but see that picture that I took in Needle Park in Zurich, Switzerland. The junkies painted the eye of the statue red, and there's some Gulf War. I was in the Gulf War. There's some Gulf War photographs here.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Here, let me show you. There's one right here.
This is super cool. We're getting a tour.
This is a 9/11 prayer carpet. 9/11 prayer carpet from Afghanistan. And I took this picture in the Gulf War in 1991. Can you see it? Then I went from photography, which was one single frame, and then I moved to 24 frames a second. I moved to film, and I did some, short film, which did well in the international film circuit. Just this shitty little movie about a homeless, foul-mouthed dwarf that lived in our neighborhood. And it's funny, he lived in the most affluent neighborhood in Canada. He really lived in the richest neighborhood in Canada on this street he was born on. It was just this angry, um, wasted dwarf. But he's very cordial, very nice. And the movie was called Don't Cost Nothing to Say Good Morning, and that did well. And then we started making, then I made a feature film called Pitch about Spenny and I trying to sell a script in Hollywood, where we were literally running up to Al Pacino and Neil Simon and like everybody, Whoopi Goldberg. We were the first guys to go into like a Toronto film festival and pitch like use kind of like paparazzi techniques to pitch our scripts to like the biggest fucking stars in the world. And so we went from Toronto Film Festival, and this is in 96 we shot it. And then we go to LA and try and sell the script. And then Will Smith saw the movie at the US Comedy Fest and gave us $20K each. And we came to LA and ended up selling Kenny versus Spenny, which was lucky. That it was just luck. I have friends who have been in the business their entire lives and they just didn't make it. And it's torture to see, but it could be any of us, like you guys.
Wild. That's insane.
Not like Abby. Not you, Abby.
Oh, thanks.
Is Pitch streaming anywhere?
Yeah, at the Subway sandwich at Eglinton West Subway Station. No, well, you can watch it. You can watch all that stuff on my channel.
Oh, okay,
I'm like the
cool.
Grateful Dead. I just put everything on for free. I think there's more benefit to just having your shit out there than selling it. So everything's on my YouTube channel. But Pitch is a good little movie. It certainly will scare you out of wanting to be in the film business. Because I was just a maniac, a Machiavellian, freak doing everything in my power to sell, but still managed to maintain likability. It's even Kenny versus Spenny.
Yeah.
You watch a couple of episodes, you think, oh, this guy's an asshole, until you meet Spenny and you're like, oh God, please crush him for us. There's just something very complex about it, because everything we do is so real. There's no bullshit. It's very real.
I had a follow-up to photography, and it was, do you know who Don Pyle is? Toronto.
Sounds familiar.
Musician and photographer.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
He's in the band Shadowy Men on a Shadowy
Planet.
I
know that.
Yeah.
I think we had music from Shadowy Men in Pitch, actually. I'm not sure. But they're one of those classic melodic, bands that you always saw the posters of.
Yeah.
Walking down the street.
He was on the pod, and we got into photography with him, and he has a bunch of old like Toronto punk rock collections. It's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I also love punk. Like Sex Pistols and Dead Kennedys are some of my favorite bands ever.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of old punk albums like The Damned and Pink
the
Flag and weird kind of stuff like that. I love the Stooges, and anyways, I didn't go into that shit.
No, I mean, love it. Love the Stooges. Listen to them. I listen to punk rock when I'm working, and I write during the day. I write copy, like marketing copy. It's just blasting punk rock.
There's a great band here called the Forgotten Rebels. They're amazing, but they're so racist. Oh my God. Like,
oh, they're racist?
Oh my God, it's so crazy. Bomb the boats, feed the fish. You got to hear these songs. Are just incredible. Nothing that you would recognize in the 70s or early 80s. But they did, fuck the To Hell with No Beatles reunion. They had an incredible album, really good. And to have a good punk band come out of Canada is extremely rare.
Yeah, well, there are a shit ton of good bands coming out of Canada, specifically Toronto nowadays. And
it's so weird. Just over the last couple decades, all my friends, especially the Kenny versus Spenny crew, they were listening to the most insane contemporary bands. I couldn't understand how anybody heard of anybody, because in my generation we would go down to the record store and buy records. But these guys were listening to in crazy bands I couldn't even. Once I did a MTV show with Spenny in Toronto, and the lead singer of the Pixies was there. Frank Black, was it?
Whoa.
And my girlfriend at the time was like, and I had no idea who he was. And then later I've kind of, listened to some Pixie stuff. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even, no idea. But different generations. Like I was born in 67, you know.
Oh, well, you look like you were born in 87.
That's true. I certainly feel like that. 1887.
I I have another food question, and it either this is for the whole group. Um, what's the best side dish to serve with lasagna?
That's a very tough one.
Garlic bread.
No, I would
But
say it would
why?
have
It's
to
so
be a
heavy.
Caesar salad or a Greek
Yes.
salad.
My
Yeah.
instinct is bread as well, but then you're like, man, that's a lot. You get a big square of I think a salad first, but that's technically not a side dish. So that's my counter is that Caesar salad is like a appetizer. So
Yeah. I have a friend, he's an epileptic. You know what salad he hates the most?
I don't know.
Caesar salad.
It was right there. It was right there. Okay.
Let's Abby laughing. These are the worst jokes. I'm making them up as we go.
We appreciate these types of jokes. Puns, anything play on words, we're fucking all
That's my
over it.
thing.
We
Yeah.
love it. Okay. What's your favorite Joan Baez song?
I don't even know. I never really got into the female singers. And listen, I'm gonna totally, Tom Cruise told me never name drop. So I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna do this once, but surprisingly enough, which is extremely insane, I used to stay at Joni Mitchell's house for intermittently for
That's why I'm asking.
long periods of time. And wait, what was the question?
I'm just trying to get you to tell the audience that, according to Wikipedia, Joni Mitchell is your
Oh, Joan
godmother.
Baez. Yeah, Joan Baez. So I did, I never really listened to Joni, and I have an older brother, and when he's found out, holy shit, what the fuck you doing like with Joni? Like he freaked out, but the first thing I ever said to Joni when I met her is, "Where's your poncho?" And she liked that I was a funny Jew, and she loves Jews.
Yeah.
She loves jokes and dad jokes, and I'm the king of that shit. But I'm basically hanging out with probably the Liz Taylor of female um music.
Yeah.
She's blue blood royalty. You don't actually get bigger than Joni. I think, historically nobody comes close to Joni. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, unless you go to like the Ma Rainey's or Bessie Smiths or um Patsy Cline and shit. But if just for her generation and what she did, um, I didn't even really listen to Joni. And I still don't really like her stuff. Like, I don't mind both sides now, but
Mhm.
maybe a couple others, but you know, um, pave paradise and put up the parking lots, not my favorite thing. I like Carole King probably
Okay.
more than, yeah. So, but like I said, even if I'm shit talking them, I totally respect them to not only make it in the biz as as like some white lady, um, or to even make it. It's so fucking hard. It's out of control. I don't think people really understand the amount of work and commitment it takes. Like if you have to do it. If you're not driven to do it, you'll never do it. You have to do it, whether you end up sucking wieners at Hollywood and Vine or jabbing heroin into your dong. Like it is like
Or both.
there is a passion and a need to do certain things and listen, people make it without any of that, which is sad. And there's girls on YouTube, on TikTok, pretending they're robots, like you know making 150K a week. It's pathetic, but historically, if you want to make in the music business or film or TV or acting or anything, it is fucking sucks how much fucking work and persistence and luck it takes, you know.
Yeah.
Not that I'm anyone to ask, but I lived in the garage for 5 fucking years. It sucked. I lived in LA. I had no car for 6 years. Broke, like totally destitute, broke. It wasn't fun. I kind of got PTSD from LA, and when I finally did make some money and get somewhat successful enough to be like some, you know, B-level cheeser. When I went back, I still couldn't enjoy it because I was so tormented by being so fucking poor there. Once and my fans know I probably told the story, but living in Venice Beach, just piss fucking broke. And a homeless guy on a bike came up to me, asked me if I wanted to buy the bike. Uh, and I was like, how much? He goes, $20. I said, okay, yeah, let me try it. And I got on the bike and rode away. And yeah,
Oh,
but he stole it and I stole it from him. It was just,
Yeah.
that's how broke I was.
When you put it like that, that was Robert Downey Jr. also, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I lived like right in between like John Cusack and Johnny Rotten and Eric Clapton and all these guys were in Venice. Um, when you're there, you're in an elevator, and it's like, oh shit, you're in an elevator with your favorite character from MASH all of a sudden. Um, but I found being a Canadian in LA was very successful. We have a certain, diplomacy and likability being Canadian in the US that, I always said we're kind of like the Kennedys of America, just because, there's just something different about us. Like we're not American, but we appear to be, and we have the ability to kind of look into your culture, as opposed to being a part of it. And that way we can kind of emulate it or make fun of it. It's kind of like Canadians kind of do British comedy with an American accent. That's kind of, I think, the
Yeah.
secret to why we're also why some, Canadians are so successful down there. And there's a lot of fucking Canadians in comedy that have kind of taken over the American industry,
Oh yeah.
which is insane. And look, even Drake, guy goes to my fucking high school. The guy's like the biggest star in the world. It's out of control.
We've had, well, Abby, what would you say? Like 50% of our guests, almost 200 episodes, are Canadian bands.
Yeah, incredible.
It's wild. It's just but it's again all organic. It's one band telling, or like us listening to one band, then the next band on like our playlist is a cool band. We're like, let's get that fucking band.
But let me give you an example about Drake, and I just thought about this, is that he's a black rapper. He's Canadian, right? So what does he do? He goes to the US, and what's he sing about? You don't call me. I gave you my number. Why are you calling me? The first person ever in the history of rap to be like, I like you. Why aren't you calling me, lady? And the women went fucking
You
crazy.
sound just like them. It's
Crazy. And that was brilliant. And only a Canadian could come in and put that perspective on fucking hip hop and rap. It took a Canadian, you know.
Absolutely. Going back to Joni Mitchell, I read that she was your godmother. That's not true?
Well, it is true, but
Okay.
what happened was one of my girlfriends from when I was a late teenager turned out to be her long lost daughter. And then and I treated her extremely well because I'm a nice guy and she had some shitty boyfriend. So when she finally met Auntie Joan, I was kind of welcomed into their home and their house, and her kids loved me as well. And so, one second, I'm just trying. What I was trying to say. I'm so sorry. I got up at 3:30.
No, it's fine. I got up
Oh
at
yeah.
5.
Okay. So what happens is, I'm staying up with Joni all fucking night. Every night I would just stay up with her, and I would just sit in her kitchen. And so the whole night she's passing you her yellow fucking American spirits. And I don't smoke, but Joni passes you a butt. It's like, okay, like smoking all night, drinking ginger tea. And I'm like, look, Joni, um, I want you to be my godmother. And she's like, oh, that's very nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I said, no, no, no. Like, I'm not fucking joking. I will need you to, I'm going to tell everybody you're my godmother. And I want you to, um, like, I want a little ceremony here where you're making me, um, your godson. And she said, well, no, I don't really want to do that. I go, we're doing it. And it took me like 2 hours to convince her to basically knight me as her godson in the kitchen. And that's how it happened. But it was like a funny, annoying thing from her perspective, and I think I did it for long enough that she was like, okay, just let's do this so we can go back to drinking tea.
And when's the last time you saw her?
Um, when did the last time I saw her? Um, I saw there was this big concert for her in Toronto, and and I went. I think it was her 75th birthday or 70th birthday or something. And so this is in Massey Hall, like one of the grandest, greatest concert halls in the entire fucking country. And there's this big concert for Joni, and I'm sitting there with her daughter and her grandkids, um and so I'm sitting and there's an empty seat next to me right on the aisle. We're like 3, 4 rows back, and Joni's gone. And then all of a sudden, during the concert, Joni walks up to come sit in the seat next to me. And I go, this seat's taken. And I won't let her sit down. She's like, "Whoa," like she loved it. And it's funny because I found online recently somebody snapped a picture. It's like, here's Joni Mitchell and Lenny Plotz. Like people are like, what the fuck is that idiot from Kenny versus Lenny doing with, like, Joni?
Canadian
It's so,
royalty.
yeah, just so insane that I weaseled my way into her life inadvertently. And I've systematically weaseled my way into, like, the lives of, SCTV, like these guys are the Beatles to me.
Yeah.
And I'm a very I'm Matt and Trey and some other notable celebs. It's very difficult to me because I love Hollywood so much, and I'm the biggest fucking movie and TV buff. I love fucking celebrities, and it's so hard to sit with you know uh Matt and Trey in the room and like just try to act fucking normal, when you just I love these guys so much. It's really crazy.
Everything what you're saying there is you're literally speaking our language, our sensibilities.
Yeah.
Our reasoning behind this whole thing is during the pandemic, we're like, how do we befriend our favorite musicians? And then we started getting comedians and writer, and we're like, fuck it, let's just any tag to music.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next question. What's one song that makes you, and this is a two-parter, what's one song that makes you think of your childhood?
My childhood was all Carpenters and ABBA. It
Okay.
was 70s, late 60s, 70s radio. It was Captain and Tennille, which I love. The lounge, Astra Gilberto, Bossa Nova, just that shit on the radio was my favorite. Like I love um um Tie a Yellow Ribbon and up and away. But I love the Carpenters. I love all that
Is that like
cheesy shit.
easy listening? What would you
Oh
call
yeah,
that?
yeah. I think easy listening.
Is
No,
it?
no, Abby's
I
saying
I
no.
feel like easy listening is more.
Like
Maybe
elevated music?
lounge. I don't know. Lounge to me is like One Mint Julep.
Yeah. But you're talking before you were talking about like Captain and Tennille and all that. It's like mom, soft mom stuff to me. Like it's like that weird whisper singing too.
Yeah, I Moog stuff too. Like I had the records I had in my house were like Engelbert Humperdinck and
Yeah.
Sinatra. and my parents loved Sammy Davis, who I love. So all of that stuff. And then, when you're a certain age, you miss certain things. Like I never got into Kiss
Yeah, yeah.
or Cinderella or Rat because or The Crew because you're missing these. My generation kind of went from Beatles, then Zeppelin to ska, then ska to New
Yeah.
Romantic, which was like, Duran Duran, Japan, Visage, and or away with punk, with Pistols in between. And then it went into like Bauhaus or weird kind of
Yeah.
that type of um more shit. But I have such an obsession with weird records that I was into like Pierre Henry and Music Concrete, like psych rock, and I think if I was to say what my favorite music is, it'd probably be psychedelic, like Syd Barrett, like early Floyd, that type of thing. I love psychedelic, like Deep Purple's first album, like Harpsichord, Chasing Shadows and that type of thing.
Oh, I love that I have music homework right now.
Yeah. Yeah, if I would say listen to some weird, crazy shit, I would say the Porpoise song by the Monkees,
Yeah, I know.
which is a album that was mixed by Jack Nicholson. He produced it, the album, which is fucking insane. Um, Psych Rock by Pierre Henry
Hmm.
and Vangelis. It was Vangelis in the 60s. Um, the Four Horsemen, and then Rucksack by Kraftwerk. These are just like the songs of my childhood, really. But I love, psychedelic Satan, that type of thing.
Uh, I follow up question is what song makes you think of your children's or will make you think of your children's childhood?
Um, Probably I want to die by Nina Hagen. No, that was a joke. What song makes me think of my children?
Yeah, dude. I don't know how old they are,
Baby
but
Shark, unfortunately.
yeah, god damn it.
Fuck those
I
guys,
miss that.
honestly.
I missed that one. That was
If there was a meteor coming towards Earth, I would just strap like 6 AR-15s to me and just shoot all these assholes that are on YouTube that are making the worst kids music ever. Coco Melon. I would just fly to Pakistan and take those guys out.
I didn't hit that with my daughter was just before
Yeah,
all that hit and she was too old to get into it and I was already had I don't have many rules, but one of the rules is I listen to that
no
shit.
Coco Melon. Yeah, I know. I know. Well, then I think about the music I grew up on were Disney records,
Yeah.
Oliver and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Um, but the media is the message. What other albums am I gonna have besides like Bed Knobs and Broomsticks? It's just fucking torture. There's nothing.
Oh man, that makes me think of two things. Well, it's one in the same, but if you come to Florida, I highly recommend you go to any thrift store, Goodwill, anything like that. You will find every single time, you will find two things. Some sort of obscure Disney record. It'll be like
Fantasia or
even that is too mainstream. I'm saying like the ugly Datsun soundtrack, like something
yeah,
weird and
the
obscure. And then
computer that wore tennis shoes.
yes, and then also which is Matthew Broderick, right?
No,
Um
Kurt Russell.
oh yeah, okay.
Matthew Broderick was still in his dad's wiener by then, I think. It was the late 60s.
I get Kurt Russell and Matthew Broderick's dad's wiener mixed up all the
Yeah.
time. Um, but the
So I'm
other thing
told.
is Engelbert Humperdinck. Every single time I'm like leafing, I'm like, no, all right, all right.
Yeah, he's great. I like cheese. I'm a big fan of cheese. The
Yeah,
cheese, you
we
know what I
like
mean?
cheese a lot. We
Yeah.
like cheesy stuff. I love it.
Yeah. Medleys.
Okay. I know you've been asked this question a bunch. Do you think they're gonna bring Kenny versus Spenny back in any bigger platform?
I wouldn't be surprised. It's a very anticipated show
Hmm.
in the cult world, I think, and I don't think I'm being cheesy by saying that, especially in Canada where there really isn't much comedies that migrated to the US.
Yeah.
So, but our show didn't really hold up too well. We did who do girls like more, and I hired a transvestite to have sex with Spenny at the show. We did who the gay guys like more, who the black people like more. So it was an era when we'd make fun of each other for being gay, like back when South Park and Family Guy and Jackass were doing that stuff, is the early 2000s, which that stuff doesn't hold up well, and I'm not happy about it. I'm not really, we're not
Yeah.
homophobic at all, or racist. We're fucking Canadians. So, but it was just a genre,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and the show was kind of gross and crazy. So I was wondered whether I'd be more popular if I made the show more sterile, or we'd be less popular if I did that. I just don't know. So,
Would you ever do a reboot
oh my
at this
God, for
stage?
sure. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I have hundreds. I think the older we get, the funnier we are. The episode one, who could smoke more meth? We would each get an ounce of meth and would just shoot
Oh
for a
man.
week and
It's
just
one
see what
episode because
happens.
one of them dies and they never get to do it again.
Yeah. Or, first guy to knit a sweater, who could get slapped by more old ladies. One of the first shows we ever wanted to do was who could entice more children into a van.
Oh my God.
But we did a lot of shows like that anyhow.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Kenny versus Spenny episodes. Like, who could stay awake the longest is insane. You stay awake for 4 or 5 days. It's torture. I mean, who could gain more weight? I must have gained 20 pounds in 3 days, living on, was the original supersize man. I lived on McDonald's and sticks of butter. So there was a lot. There was a lot of, we did 89 episodes.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of fucking episodes. Holy shit.
It was a lot of work. Yeah. Which goes back to the things where, yes, it looks easy, and yes, you're just waking up and your friends are filming you, but I don't think people really truly understand the amount of work and commitment it takes to make incredible art.
I agree.
And Trey, I'll say one more thing, which is total name dropping. Trey Parker told me too. He said there's two types of people: the guys who make art to make money, and the guys who make art to make art. And you make way more money making art for art's sake than you ever would making money for it. That may have changed now with the Biebers and other people out there that are just raking in fucking mega billions doing shit. Not that I don't think Bieber's doing shit, but I'm just saying there's people out there doing total shit and making so much fucking cash. It is crazy, which is dangerous because it makes us want to do that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. It's a lot. And that's why I don't really work, because I worked for 20 years every fucking day. And then, you're shooting, and then you're in post-production, which is editing for weeks and months. And the problem is too, it's such a collaborative field. And especially when you're in a band, the problem is, you have to rely on this fucking shitty drummer who just refuses to show up on time, or some guitarist who wants to take the band in a different direction than you do. It's so hard to do collaborative work. That's why I was like
Yeah.
photography, because you would go out and take a picture, and then you'd look at your slides and be, oh, this one's good, this one's good. You don't need anybody. But when you're making movies, making music, usually, unlike Joni or some other kind of Cat Stevensy types of guys who can sit there with a fucking guitar and they're like geniuses. It's very hard, because you're shooting a TV show, and you give your vids to some idiot to drive to the studio, and he leaves the car open and everything gets stolen. It's just like, shit is so insane. You're driving through Texas to do some shows, and your van gets stolen, and your career's over for the rest of your life. It's so scary, and so soul crushing sometimes. It's not for the faint of heart, though. A friend told me a long time ago, you know what? People win in Vegas. You can roll the dice, and sometimes you get lucky. And if you do, then it's the ultimate dream to be able to do your art and do something great and make people laugh, and like go into a supermarket and have like go, oh my God, or even you schmoes wanting me on. It's incredible. There's nothing better than you know, being a successful artist in your own mind. And it is great.
Man,
Great. It is the dream. It is the dream, I have to say.
Mr. Hot, sir, drop in the wisdom. I love it. This is perfect.
Can I go now?
Yeah, we were almost done.
Okay, thanks.
You have 666 followers on your Instagram, or you follow
I
600.
follow, yeah. Yeah.
Is
That's
that on
just like
purpose?
that. Yeah, it's on purpose.
Is that
I
on
just do it for
purpose?
fun. Yeah. Now I had an Instagram with like almost 100,000 followers,
Mhm.
and I was posting too many pictures of Spenny as Hitler.
Oh, we
Oops.
got flagged.
And I kept getting flags. I said, oh God, I don't know. And then yeah, one too many. And then I lost my Instagram, which sucks.
They'll do that.
That happens. I didn't even, I just thought, no one, who's gonna take away my Instagram? So now I'm back. Might have, I don't even know what I have now, 15,000 or something, which is fine. But it sucks losing that type of platform.
Can you lose someone and follow us? That way it's still 666.
I'll follow Abby.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Piss you off.
It's totally fine. That's great.
Yeah.
I also appreciate the 666. I love it. I think that's so funny and it's curated silliness. I
Yeah.
love it.
Well, it's sucks because you're like, oh shit, like you always got to,
Yeah.
you're always adding people and friends. It's like, oh my God, it's like, oh shit, it's been 3 months. I've got 654. And it's like, oh, now I got to just follow these people
Yeah.
to get up to 666 again.
Everyone listening, go follow Kenny Hotz
Yes,
official.
please. That's very
on
nice.
Instagram.
Yeah. And all my shows are on YouTube for free, and I have a Patreon, which is only $2 a month Canadian. That's like 12 cents US.
Yeah. I mean, for now, it ebbs and flows.
Not really. We've always douched us.
I have a bunch of loonies and toonies somewhere that I'll just send you. I'm gonna do it old school. I'll be like,
I'll
here's
take them.
mail. I'm gonna mail it to you. Okay. And a series of end episode questions. One, what musician, live or dead, would you want to bother in the vein of bothering the band? So very stupid, outlandish questions.
So which musician would I want to like podcast interview?
But in the vein
In
of
this,
bothering the yeah, and only dumb questions, no inspiration, no
well, the thing is, the
politics.
problem is I wouldn't be anyone that I like because I don't want to bother them. That's like I said, I used to see Johnny Rotten walking in front of me and Spenny, and we loved him so much. Like we're just dying. It's
Yeah.
fucking Johnny Rotten. And we were dying to talk to him. I've walked up to Woody Allen and the Pope. Like honestly, like I would walk up to everybody, but there's sometimes people that you love so much. I just do not want to fucking bother them.
I totally agree.
But let me see. That's a very hard question because there's so much. I love music so much. I probably would say George Harrison just because he was my favorite Beatle. And
Okay. What would you ask him?
I don't know. I kind of know a lot about his life already. I probably just want to.
Do you know what he eats on the side of lasagna? Because he
I
was
don't
a
think
vegetarian, right?
Yeah, but there's veg lasagna, even though the cheese
Yeah,
does
veggie lasagna. So
the cheese does. I was a veg really young when I was about 15 for a few years when nobody was. And then I found out that cheese had rennet in it, that it's almost impossible to be a vegetarian, that even vegetarians are eating meat.
yeah,
It's crazy. And not to mention the fact you probably eat 30 spiders a year. They just crawl into your mouth while you're sleeping.
that comes up a lot on this one.
So
How many spiders have you eaten, George Harrison?
I'm trying to think who it would probably be somebody like well, L. Ron Hubbard had a band. I have this L. Ron Hubbard album which is horrible. See, these are the weird I've got the Charles Manson album, um, and I've got what I've got? Where is it? I've got the David Koresh record. I went to Mount Carmel when it was smoldering and took pictures there. It was one of my photo essays. So like a lot of my albums are like um, you know, Spock Sings or Fonzie records, like really weird, obscure, crazy, zany things. That's what my collection.
I have a few of those. Like I have a few like random ones that I will buy when I go to like a thrift store just because I'm like, I don't want this to sit here. And I'm like in my head, I'm like, I want to find a home for these records.
Yeah.
I'll send you these weird records I have.
Oh, I'll take them.
I will happily. I
I'll
know
say I'll give
exactly
you
what I'm.
autographed KV Kenny versus Spenny. Some of the Kenny versus Spenny DVDs are selling for 300 fucking bucks on eBay.
Oh,
I
wow,
sold
that's crazy.
a Kenny versus Spenny t-shirt I wore on the show, sold for 10 grand on eBay. That's we have such a weird, yeah, it's such a weird, you know, wonderful cult like audience. They're just fucking crazy. But yeah, listen to Spock's Thoughts if you want to Google anything. Spock's Thoughts, Leonard Nimoy,
I
and
love it.
the Ballad
Have
of
you
Bilbo
heard of
Baggins.
the Marcel Marceau records where it's just silence and then
It
at the
couldn't be.
end it's
No way.
no joke, it's silence and at the end there's just light applause.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Oh,
Those
if
are
that's true, that's incredible.
that's fucking brilliant, I
Yeah.
think. I think that's like next level shit.
I pitched a mime show for kids. No one wanted it.
No?
Sebastian, my friend, my buddy Sebastian Kluwer, we thought of it. It was just thought it would be just be so nice to have like a quiet show. It can air in any country in the world. Unlimited. See, when you have shows that are silent, you can sell them to every country. So I thought, it would be like a series of vignettes, but just mimes. And I thought it'd be really good for kids.
Like Mr. Bean
Bicycle.
with
Then
kids.
yeah, that type of thing.
That's
Never sold.
that's brilliant. Fuck, try it again. Um, I I have this written. I don't know how I want to throw it out there because you might surprise me. We always end episodes with a song from the guest.
Mhm.
Do you have anything under your name? Anything that you would want to end this episode with that we can find?
Grandpa, you were my first lover. Grandpa, you said there was no other. Grandpa would open the door and see little Spenny asleep. He'd wiggle his fingers as he sucked on my dink. Grandpa, stop molesting me. Grandpa, stop molesting me. That's probably the most famous song that ever came out of the show. It's funny, Spenny spent 50 years playing Delta blues music, and some stupid song I made up in 5 seconds is the one that will probably all be remembered for.
Oh my God.
But again, it's you're talking about how is my show going to, how is there going to be a rebirth of Kenny versus Spenny when I ripped on the guy that we're doing pedophile molestation jokes. It was a different time, different era.
Okay, what's next for Kenny Hotz? I'm sorry, Mr. Hotz, sir.
Making mac and cheese for my
Oh,
kids
nice.
and trying to sneak some peas in them so they don't get scurvy.
Yeah. Oranges or
Yeah,
limes. Was it limes
limes.
also? Yeah.
Good. Oh,
Nice.
that's good.
Um, anything you want to promote?
I don't know. I have a Patreon. Go to my YouTube channel. It's okay. They're just nice being with you kids. Thanks for the adoration. And we'll do it again soon, I hope. And let me see if I can throw you any bands.
This has been so much fun. Yes, please send us bands. Keep in touch. I'll send you some records. I'll find you a place near me and we can hang
Yeah,
out.
I'm not joke. I need a real estate agent for rentals. I'm coming down.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch.
Okay, I'll take it to Versailles.
Fuck yeah.